She walked into his courtroom as just another black woman he thought he could silence. She walked out as the woman who destroyed his entire career. The courtroom is suffocatingly silent. The tension thick as Judge Richard Callaway leans forward with a smug grin, tapping his gavel with deliberate arrogance. Seated before him is Maya Carter, a black woman in her early 30s, poised yet eerily calm. Her simple professional attire contrasts sharply with the hostility in the judge's piercing stare. "You don't belong in a courtroom like this," Callaway sneers, his voice dripping with condescension. His reputation precedes him, known for handing out disproportionately harsh fines and rulings against black defendants. Callaway has never been challenged, at least not in a way that truly mattered. He lifts a stack of legal documents, barely glancing at them. "You're contesting this fine?" He scoffs. "How typical." Maya doesn't flinch. Her hands remain neatly folded in her lap. She doesn't argue, doesn't beg. She simply watches. The bailiff snickers. Some members of the audience shake their heads knowingly. A few whisper beneath their breath. Another black citizen trying to fight back. They've seen this play out before. The judge, reveling in the one-sided power dynamic, slams down his gavel. Fine upheld. $115,000. Pay by next week or face legal consequences. A murmur spreads across the room. A crushing fine for a minor infraction, completely unjustified. But Callaway smirks, savoring the moment. Maya exhales softly, tilting her head as if absorbing the weight of his decision. Then, ever so slightly, she smiles. The judge frowns, caught off guard by the unexpected reaction. And then Maya speaks for the first time. "Your Honor," she says smoothly, her voice controlled, almost amused. "I'd like to introduce new evidence." She slides a folder across the desk. The judge hesitates before picking it up. He flips it open, and his smirk vanishes instantly. The room holds its breath. Something is wrong, deeply wrong. Callaway's eyes dart up to Maya, wider than before. His hand trembles ever so slightly, knuckles whitening as he grips the paper. Maya leans in, her smile unfaltering. "Something wrong, Your Honor?" she asks, her tone silk smooth yet razor sharp. For the first time in his long career of unchecked power, Judge Callaway looks afraid. Maya Carter is not who she appears to be. To the untrained eye, she looks like an ordinary woman, well-dressed, confident but composed. Someone the judge dismissed without a second thought. But behind the quiet demeanor and unshaken confidence is one of the most brilliant legal minds in the country. Maya is a Harvard-educated, high-profile attorney, known in legal circles for exposing corruption and tearing apart unjust systems. But today, she didn't walk into this courtroom as a lawyer. She walked in as a regular citizen, blending in with the many black defendants who had no power, no voice, no chance in Judge Callaway's courtroom. But unlike the others, Maya is here for a reason. She is not just here to fight her fine. She is here to expose a system that has preyed on the powerless for years. The case is unfolding in a small southern town where Judge Callaway has ruled for over 2 decades with unchecked authority. The courthouse, an old towering building with marble floors and echoes of history, has seen countless defendants, many of them black, walk in with hope and walk out with broken spirits and impossible fines. The town is known for its deep-rooted corruption, where Callaway and his allies profit off their unjust rulings. Maya has been watching, tracking every wrongfully issued fine, every case dismissed without a fair hearing, every citizen punished simply for existing. At first glance, this case seems small, a fine, just another one of Callaway's cruel but unchallenged rulings. But it isn't just about the $115,000 penalty. It's about her late father's property, the home he built with his own hands, the house Maya grew up in. Judge Callaway's decision is not just a legal penalty. It is a personal attack. The fine is strategic, designed to push Maya out of her home, the same way he has done to countless other black homeowners in the area. He has been weaponizing the legal system to steal homes, funnel money to his friends in real estate, and make sure people like Maya never get ahead. If she pays the fine, she loses the house. If she doesn't pay, she faces legal consequences that could strip her of even more rights. To Judge Callaway, this is just another win. To Maya, this is the moment everything changes. Because what Callaway doesn't know is that Maya has been gathering evidence against him for months. And by the end of this trial, he won't just lose the case, he will lose everything. The courtroom remains silent, but the energy shifts. The smirk on Judge Callaway's face wavers, though he quickly composes himself, flipping through the document Maya handed him. Then his confidence returns. He lets out a low chuckle, shaking his head. "This is nonsense," Callaway scoffs, tossing the folder aside. "You think some paperwork is going to intimidate me? You are out of your depth, Miss Carter." Maya doesn't flinch. Her calm unsettles him. The courtroom audience, mostly local residents who have suffered under Callaway's rule, shifts in their seats. Some of them recognize Maya's name now. It had been spoken in hushed tones in their community. A few exchange glances of realization. But Callaway isn't worried. Not yet. He leans forward, his gavel tapping lazily against the bench. "You walked in here today thinking you could take me on, didn't you?" he says, amusement creeping back into his tone. "I've seen your kind before, people who think the law is on their side. But let me tell you something. I am the law in this courtroom." He turns to the prosecutor, Jackson Reed, who has been watching the exchange with a smirk of his own. "Mr. Reed, do you see any legitimate argument here?" Callaway asks. Reed, an eager-to-please, ethically bankrupt attorney, shakes his head. "No, Your Honor. Just baseless accusations. A desperate attempt to deflect from the real issue." Callaway leans back in his chair, satisfied. "Then let's move forward," he says. "Miss Carter, unless you have real legal representation, I'm not wasting any more of this court's time." Laughter erupts from a few of Callaway's loyalists in the audience. Maya finally speaks. "I see," she says, her voice steady. "So let me get this straight. A black woman contesting an unfair fine is a waste of time, but the dozens of cases you've ruled on today, where fines were handed out for no reason at all, those were legitimate?" The laughter dies instantly. Callaway's face hardens. He isn't used to being questioned like this. "You watch your tone, Miss Carter," he warns. But Maya doesn't back down. She reaches into her bag, pulling out a stack of documents. She walks toward the courtroom clerk, her heels clicking against the tile, and hands them over. "If Your Honor doesn't want to waste time," she says, "I'd like these entered into evidence." The clerk hesitates, looking between Maya and Callaway. "What evidence?" Callaway demands, voice tight with irritation. Maya tilts her head slightly, studying him. "Financial records," she says casually. "Bank statements. A list of every person you find in the past 5 years." A murmur ripples through the audience. Callaway goes still. "I cross-referenced those fines with property foreclosures in this county," Maya continues. "Would you like to guess how many people lost their homes after leaving this courtroom?" A hush falls over the room. Even the bailiff looks uncomfortable now. Callaway's fingers tighten around his gavel. "You're out of order." "No, Your Honor," Maya says, stepping back to face him. "I think I'm finally in order." Tension crackles in the air. The audience watches Callaway, waiting for him to respond. His jaw clenches, and for the first time he looks uncertain. Because now it isn't just a fine he's defending. It's his entire career. Judge Callaway's face is frozen, his once smug demeanor replaced by a flicker of something else. Doubt. He quickly masks it, but the damage is done. The audience in the courtroom can sense the shift. He slams his gavel down, trying to regain control. This is irrelevant. Your fine has already been ruled upon, and this court does not entertain baseless accusations. Maya steps forward, completely unfazed. She glances at the clerk, who still holds the documents she submitted. Your Honor, I'd suggest you take a closer look at that evidence, she says smoothly, because what I've submitted isn't just a list of fines. It's proof that you've been running a systematic scheme to illegally push black families out of their homes. A gasp ripples through the courtroom. Callaway's face tightens. You are dangerously close to contempt, Miss Carter, he hisses. Maya smiles slightly, unfazed. I'll take my chances. She gestures toward the evidence in the clerk's hands. Let me walk you through it, Your Honor. You've issued thousands of fines, disproportionately targeting black citizens, many of whom have struggled financially due to your rulings. But the real problem? Every time someone failed to pay a fine, their property conveniently ended up in the hands of the same small group of real estate investors. A heavy silence falls over the room. Maya turns to the audience, addressing them now. Those investors happen to be your closest friends, Your Honor, and in some cases your own family members. Another gasp. Callaway's hands grip the bench, knuckles white. This is slander, he growls. I could have you disbarred for even suggesting such nonsense. Maya arches an eyebrow. Slander? That's an interesting accusation. She reaches into her bag again. This time, she pulls out something much smaller than the documents, a flash drive. Judge Callaway's eyes dart to it instantly. For the first time, real fear flickers across his face. Maya holds it up between two fingers. I have a recording, Your Honor. A very interesting one. Would you like to hear it? The audience leans in, waiting. Callaway shifts in his seat, his usual authority now cracking. You're bluffing, he says, but his voice is less confident now. Maya walks over to the courtroom's projector setup. A technician in the back, who has clearly been waiting for this moment, nods and inserts the flash drive into the system. A low static fills the room. Then a voice. Callaway's voice. Look, if these people can't afford their fines, they don't deserve the property. It's business, plain and simple. You get them out and we handle the paperwork. The courtroom erupts. People gasp, whisper, point at Callaway. Callaway's face drains of color. Maya folds her arms, watching him. That was recorded 3 weeks ago. One of your associates wasn't as loyal as you thought. The judge sputters, eyes darting around for support. But none comes. Even Prosecutor Jackson Reed looks horrified. For the first time in his career, Judge Richard Callaway is no longer in control. The courtroom is chaos. Gasps, whispers, and stunned expressions ripple through the audience like a shockwave. Even Callaway's most loyal courtroom officers shift uncomfortably in their seats. Callaway slams his gavel repeatedly, his face flushed with rage and panic. Order! Order in the court! He barks. But for the first time, his voice shakes. Maya doesn't move, her expression cool, watching him unravel. Callaway's eyes dart toward the bailiff, the man who has always done his dirty work. Remove her from my courtroom. Now, the bailiff hesitates. This is not the usual power dynamic. He looks at Maya, then at the rest of the audience, now whispering amongst themselves, their phones recording everything. He knows this is bigger than a courtroom dispute. Sir, the bailiff's voice falters. Callaway glares at him. That's an order. Maya finally speaks, her voice steady, carrying the weight of someone who knows she has already won. I wouldn't do that, she says, because the second you have me removed, this video is going straight to the FBI, Department of Justice, and every major news network in the country. Callaway freezes. The bailiff lowers his hands, stepping back, his jaw tight. I'm not touching her. The entire courtroom feels it now, the shift. Callaway is no longer in control. Maya steps forward, slow, deliberate. This is what you don't understand, Your Honor, she says, her voice silk smooth yet razor sharp. You thought I was just another victim, another black woman you could fine, silence, and discard. She pauses, locking eyes with him. But what you didn't realize. I've been preparing for this moment for months. Callaway's hands grip the bench so tightly his knuckles turn white. You're bluffing, he spits out, though his voice is barely above a whisper now. Maya smiles slightly. Am I? She gestures to the audience. Every single person has their phone raised, live streams, recordings. Social media is exploding. Even the court stenographer has stopped typing, her wide eyes darting between Maya and Callaway. Maya lets the silence stretch, then continues. You have spent years destroying lives, tearing families apart, and selling off black homes for profit. And the saddest part? You never even tried to hide it. Callaway looks toward Prosecutor Jackson Reed, desperate for help. But Reed steps back, shaking his head. I'm not going down with you. The words hit Callaway like a gunshot. For the first time in his career, he is truly alone. The judge reaches for his gavel, as if clinging to the last shred of his authority. This court is adjourned, he shouts, voice cracking. But no one moves. Maya tilts her head, watching him drown in his own downfall. Then she speaks. Oh, we're not done yet, Your Honor. In fact, we're just getting started. The courtroom remains frozen, everyone waiting for what happens next. Judge Callaway, sweating now, clutches his gavel like a lifeline, his power slipping through his fingers. Maya steps forward, her heels clicking against the polished floor, her eyes never leaving his. Sit down, Your Honor, she says, her voice calm but laced with authority. Callaway bristles, his face red. How dare you? Maya cuts him off. If you were smart, you'd listen, because right now I'm the only person in this room who might be willing to offer you a choice. A murmur spreads through the audience. People shift in their seats, hanging on her every word. Callaway's jaw tightens, but for the first time in his career, he looks unsure. Maya slowly turns, addressing the entire courtroom. Let me break it down for everyone, she announces. Judge Callaway has been running an illegal, predatory scheme for years. He finds innocent people, mostly black homeowners, knowing many of them can't afford to pay. When they default, their homes conveniently end up in the hands of his real estate connections. She gestures to the documents still in the clerk's hands. The proof is all here. Every fraudulent fine, every illegal foreclosure. And thanks to a few of his associates flipping under pressure, we now have a full confession. Callaway's face drains of color. His hands tremble as he reaches for a glass of water, knocking it over instead. Maya turns back to him, her expression razor sharp. You see, Your Honor, she continues, I wasn't just contesting a fine today. I was setting a trap, and you walked right into it. Gasps erupt. Even the bailiff stares at Callaway now, disgusted. Callaway shakes his head rapidly. You have no real proof. You don't. Maya lifts a hand, stopping him cold. I have bank statements, Callaway.
Wire transfers.
Names, dates, and that recording. She smiles. It's already been sent to the FBI, the Department of Justice, and every major news outlet. Silence. Then, from the back of the courtroom, the doors burst open. A team of federal agents storms in, badges flashing, weapons holstered but ready. The lead agent steps forward. Richard Callaway, you are under arrest for corruption, fraud, and abuse of power. The courtroom explodes. Gasps. Cheers. People pulling out their phones. It's over. Callaway stumbles back, his mouth opening and closing, words failing him. The bailiff steps forward now, no longer loyal, and rips Callaway's gavel from his grip. You're done. The bailiff's voice is cold. Final. Callaway tries to speak, tries to fight back, but the federal agents grab his arms, cuffing him right there at his own bench. Maya watches, unshaken, her arms crossed as they drag Callaway past her. He finally speaks, voice low, broken. Who the hell are you? He whispers. Maya tilts her head, smiling slightly. Someone you should have respected. And with that, Judge Richard Callaway is let out in handcuffs, his legacy of corruption destroyed in a single day. The courtroom is electrified, a mixture of stunned silence and murmured disbelief. A corrupt judge, a man who had terrorized black families for decades, is now being led away in handcuffs, his career and power in ruins. Maya watches without emotion, her work here complete. But for the people in this room, this is just the beginning. Callaway twists in the agent's grip, his arrogance faltering. You can't do this, he sputters. This is my court. I am the law. The lead federal agent tightens his grip. Not anymore. The bailiff, once his loyal enforcer, steps forward, blocking Callaway's path. His expression is firm, disgusted. You ruined lives, the bailiff mutters. We all knew it. We let it happen. Maya turns to the judge one last time, her gaze unwavering. You built this courtroom into your own kingdom, she says. But today the people took it back. The audience erupts. Applause, cheers, and even tears. People stand, clapping, some embracing. For the first time in years, they've won. Callaway is dragged past them, faces of his former victims surrounding him. A black woman in the front row stands, an elderly woman, her hands trembling but her eyes fierce. You stole my son's home, she says, her voice cracking, and now you've lost yours. Callaway's face twists with rage, then shame. He looks away. The doors slam behind him. The judge is gone. But Maya isn't finished yet. She turns to the clerk. Submit those documents to the State Bar Association, she says. His law license needs to be revoked immediately. The clerk nods, eyes wide. Yes, ma'am. Prosecutor Jackson Reed, still stunned, hesitates before speaking. Maya, you planned this the whole time, didn't you? Maya raises an eyebrow. I did my homework. Reed swallows hard, realizing he backed the wrong side. His career won't survive this either. He opens his mouth to defend himself, but Maya doesn't give him the chance. She steps closer, voice low, cutting. You had a choice. Every case you prosecuted in his favor. Every innocent family you let him destroy. You made that choice. Reed looks down, ashamed. Maya leans in slightly, live with it. Then she turns away, leaving him standing there, exposed like the coward he is. The judge's bench, his throne, is empty. For the first time in years, the courtroom feels different. Lighter, freer.